Let's talk more about this with ABC News contributor and former senior CIA field operative Darrell Blocker, as well as former special assistant to the president for counterterrorism and executive director of the International Spy Museum, Chris Costa, both of whom I should mention, tracked al-Zawahiri for a number of years while active duty. So let's start with you, Darrell, and just you tracked for numerous years al-Zawahiri. How big of a blow is this to al-Qaeda?
Honestly, this is bigger than UBL. As the spiritual leader, the spiritual core of al-Qaeda, many of the people, many of the adherents that came to al-Qaeda came because of his teachings, not because of the billionaire's son, UBL. So yes, this is huge. And my hunt, my personal involvement in the hunt for al-Qaeda and Ayman al-Zawahiri began after the failed World Trade Center attack in January of '93, and was solidified after I spent some time on the ground in Mogadishu, where al-Qaeda admitted that they were the ones behind training the Somalis that ultimately shot down our helicopters there.
So keeping in consideration, Chris, that you and Darrell both were tracking this guy for such a long period of time, Intel knew exactly what he was doing and who he was. Some people would ask, why did this take 20 years?
Well, I think there are many dry holes, as they say in the business. In other words, there are opportunities that were lost for a variety of reasons in those 20 years. But it's very difficult tracking individuals. We've made it seem rote. Post 9/11 in the United States in particular has done an extraordinary job. But it is difficult. It is painstaking. You have to develop a pattern of life. You have to have the right intelligence capabilities in place. And it's just hard work. It's people intensive, and it takes a great deal of operational patience. But there were times that we got close to number one, bin Laden, and number two over the years.
So, Darrell, does this leave the door open now for new leadership, and how should the U.S. respond?
Yes, the worst job to have in al-Qaeda was the number 3 position. I'm still speaking in terms of CIA as we, even though I've been retired. Anyway, tracking the leadership of al-Qaeda has become a little more difficult than prior to 9/11 because they're a whole lot more careful. But rest assured, if any of the folks ascending to replace Zawahiri, they have already known to us and they're known to our allies. So their days are going to be numbered as soon as they're announced as the new leader.
I know Chris will not argue with that. Chris, the Taliban, of course, condemning the attack, saying it violated the Doha Agreement. Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying the agreement was grossly violated the moment al-Zawahiri stepped foot in Kabul. So what's the point of this agreement if both countries aren't going to abide by it? Clearly, you can't trust the Taliban.
You're exactly right. You can't trust the Taliban. I didn't think it then, and I certainly don't think it now. They have hosted Zawahiri and his family. They clearly gave him sanctuary. And at the end of the day, this gives the United States some options. And we can continue, the United States, I'm talking about, can continue to put pressure on the Taliban as a result of them violating the principle and the spirit of Doha. So the United States will continue to put pressure and use the levers of government and direct those levers toward the Taliban. They are not acting in good faith, and they have to pay for this intransigence.
Well, they definitely paid this time around. And Darrell, U.S. troops were withdrawn out of Afghanistan, as you know, last year. It was made headlines. We were all talking about it. So how does a mission like this actually go forward without troops on the ground? And does it send a message that we don't need troops on the ground? We've got intel, we've got air assets. We can still take out a terrorist.
It's clearly more difficult to track anyone without having a presence on the ground. But the intel community has entire mission centers, entire offices set up to doing nothing but tracking these individuals. They track everything about them. So them being outside the reach of the United States is a fallacy. We can reach anywhere on Earth, and we've proven that time again, whether we have troops on the ground or not.
So, Chris, what should the U.S. government's next counterterrorism step be when it comes to countering resurgent terrorists in Afghanistan? Do they just go forward, as Darrell said, looking to number 3, number 4, and down the line and figure out how to take them out?
So Darrell's right. We have an incredible capability, but all of that said, we need to redouble our focus on human intelligence. Just in June, the Central Command Commander, General Kurilla, talked about redoubling our focus on developing human networks in the region. So you can never get enough human intelligence. And because the Taliban are acting in bad faith, we have an opportunity now. So going forward, to answer your excellent question, I think we have to continue to focus on human intelligence, meaning find partners on the ground in Afghanistan. The Panjshiris, for example, are engaging, their tribe are engaging against the Taliban day in and day out. They have defectors, they've shot down helicopters, and the fruits of those kinds of operations will be human intelligence. In the United States, I am confident, will build the right relationships so we can fill those gaps, because we're not always going to be able to rely on technical intelligence. So in short, to answer your question, we need to redouble focus on human intelligence.
Darrell Blocker, Chris Costa, always great to have you guys, true insiders. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.